Welcome back to Weekend Prime. On our weekly segment of First the Facts, Haman Kamariki turns the spotlight on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, accused of doing little or nothing at all as our girls suffer in the Gulf, our men die in Russia, and Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo remain missing. The Cabinet Secretary is busy singing politics. Here's now First the Facts.
Now, welcome to First the Facts. Imagine this. A girl leaves Kenya with a suitcase full of dreams and a passport full of promises. She waves goodbye at JKIA, believing she's chasing opportunity. But what she doesn't know is that this flight is not bound for opportunity. It may be a one-way flight into pain and even death.
Maria kapigia nduru, wakaamka. Mama nini Maria? Nachomeka.
And a place whispered about in half-truth. Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, where contracts turn to cuffs.
Badala aende msalani kule kwenye mahali watu wanajisaidia, pale mahali unafanya kazi zako, anakuja, anatoa ule uume wake na anakukoja.
And her voice becomes nothing more than background noise in someone else's kitchen. Now listen to this lady here.
Nilipokonywa passports, so sina identification yoyote huko, yani niko tu ndani kama vile mfungwa, unafanya tu kazi hivyo.
They promised her work, dignity and a future, but all she sends home now are voice notes of despair.
Alafu akaanza kunisodoma yule baba wa nyumba. Alipomaliza wale tukisake.
But listen closely. If your daughter does not return in a coffin from the Gulf, your son might come from Russia dead.
I didn't know it was a military job. So he told me, sign here, sign here. After finishing signing, he took my passport and my phone.
Because our young men hungry for a chance are dying in a war in Russia. Wars they never started. The government admits, yes, they are there. And yes, rogue agents send them to the land of no return.
Wale wa urongo ni wengi na imekuwa ni kama biashara hawa maagent ya kuchukua hawa wasichana kuwapeleka huko, na wakifika huko hawana msimamizi. They don't know where to go.
And what Musalia Mudavadi can tell us is Ruto is two-term.
Sasa nilipowaambia itakuwa vigumu sana kushinda Ruto, wengine walikuwa nafikiri tena ni mchezo.
We have become a nation that watches its children disappear. In Uganda, for example, Bob Njagi and Nicholas Oyo vanished in broad daylight. Their families still wait, voices cracking from months of crying.
We have been consistent saying that Nicholas and Bob were abducted by the Ugandan military.
I am not briefed by police that they have them in our custody.
The government says...
We have been engaging through diplomatic channels.
Engaging who? Are you engaging ghosts? In Tanzania, on the other side, Boniface Mwangi and others were beaten, humiliated, and instead of outrage, our leaders laughed.
And then they started beating my feet. So they would beat me and massage my feet. They took me to a wall and then told me to face the wall and then squat.
And they asked this question as if justice now requires a letter of invitation. And remember, Dr. Kiza Besije, you remember this man. He was seized on Kenyan soil and handed over like parcel to Ugandan authorities. Now imagine Kenya, the country that was once known to shelter freedom fighters, now is escorting them back to their jailers.
For his liberty to be curtailed in a sovereign state like Kenya, and no action is being taken by the Kenyan government against the sister country, violating the territorial integrity of Kenya, that's a very serious matter.
It's funny. Maybe it's not. Now, we call it foreign affairs, but what's foreign about forgetting your own people? You call for help, they call for protocol. You send a cry, they send a press release. And when Kenyans die in broad daylight, it's the families that mourn. And the families must raise money to fly their dead back home. So what's really happening here? It's neglect written into policy and unemployment. Now, just before we call it a quit, let's look at this. And yet at the funerals, these are the same leaders who will stand in designer suits talking about patriotism and national pride.
Wacha kudharau taifa letu. Wacha kuweka chuki kwa taifa letu. Wacha kuongea maovu kwa ajili ya taifa letu.
But what pride is left when your daughters die in deserts, your sons in trenches, and your leaders only say, we are working on it, or we are trying. We can't keep exporting desperation and importing confidence. We need a government that shows up for its people everywhere, because patriotism is not poetry. It's action when people cry for help. My name is Haman Kamariki, and that's First the Fact.